let's get right into it. Number 10, drink your own pee. Imagine being stranded in the desert, sunburned, dehydrated, and suddenly hearing a little voice in your head whisper, Bear Grylls would drink it. And that's when you know things have gone downhill. Because, despite what TV told you, your urine is not some magical survival Gatorade. It's more like your body's garbage juice, warm, yellow, and full of stuff your kidneys worked overtime to kick out. Sure, the first sip might technically be safe-ish, but your body isn't stupid. It filtered those wastes for a reason. Keep drinking it, and you're basically running a hydration Ponzi scheme where the returns get worse every round. More salt, more toxins, more dehydration. It's like trying to put out a fire with gasoline but telling yourself, at least it's liquid. Here's the real kicker. In extreme heat, your body already struggles to keep your kidneys functioning. So, reintroducing urine is like walking back into a room you just cleaned and dumping a bag of trash onto the floor. Repeatedly, your organs start giving up, your bloodstream turns into a briny soup, and your survival chances drop faster than your dignity when you consider drinking pee in the first place. So if you're ever lost in the wilderness, skip the self-recycling program. Nature has enough problems without you turning into a human water treatment plant. Number 9, suck the venom out picture. This, you're hiking, feeling like the main character of a nature documentary, when Bama Snake decides to give you an unwanted friendship tattoo. Your brain immediately pulls up that ancient survival myth. Don't worry, just suck the venom out. As if you're some kind of organic shop vac with a medical degree. Here's the tragic reality. Sucking venom out doesn't work at all. Not even a little. The venom spreads through your lymphatic system, not just chilling politely under the skin like a spoonful of jelly you can slurp out. By the time you even think maybe I should mouth vacuum this, the venom is already out there networking with your immune system like a toxic LinkedIn connection. And if you do try to suck it out, congratulations. You've just introduced mouth bacteria into an open wound while also risking venom absorption through tiny cuts in your gums. Now both you and the bite victim get matching problems. Cute. What you're actually supposed to do is keep the victim calm and still, because movement spreads venom faster, apply a pressure bandage and get medical help. No mouth-to-wound smooching required. So next time someone suggests just suck it out, remember, the only thing that technique ever successfully removes is common sense. Number 8, follow birds or moss. Let's say you're lost in the woods, your phone is dead, your sense of direction is having a midlife crisis, and suddenly you remember that one nature hack from a cartoon. Moss grows on the north side of trees. Or maybe, birds always fly toward water. Cute ideas, completely unreliable. Moss does not care about your survival arc. Moss grows wherever it's damp, shady, or just vibing. Sometimes that's the north side, sometimes it's the south, sometimes it's the entire tree, because nature isn't obligated to obey TikTok trends. If you use moss for navigation, you're not walking north, you're walking confidently in the wrong direction like a boss. And birds? Oh, you sweet summer child. Birds fly toward food, migration routes, nesting areas, random whims, and sometimes directly into windows. They are not water-seeking drones programmed to lead you to safety. Follow a flock long enough, and you're more likely to end up watching a bunch of finches argue over a berry bush than discovering a magical river. Depending on birds or moss is basically like using horoscopes for GPS. Sure, it feels cool, but it's 99% vibes and 1% hope. Real navigation requires actual landmarks, the sun's movement, or brace yourself just staying put until help arrives. If you let moss and birds guide your survival decisions, the forest won't kill you. Your confidence will. Number 7, play dead for bears. Imagine being face-to-face with a bear. Your heart is doing parkour in your chest, your legs are having an existential crisis, and your brain pulls up the one file it has on bear protocol. Just lie down and hope the 600-pound forest tank decides you're not worth snacking on. Yeah, that advice only works for some bears. In some situations, under very specific conditions. Which means for most people, it's basically survival roulette. Grizzlies? Sometimes. Sometimes playing dead works if it's a defensive attack, if you're not being stalked, if the bear isn't in a bad mood, if cubs are nearby, and if it decides your limp noodle act is believable. Black bears, though? Absolutely not. Playing dead for a black bear is like delivering yourself as a pre-marinated meal. These guys aren't trying to defend themselves, they're sizing you up like a walking snack pack. And if it's a predatory attack, no bear cares about your Oscar-worthy corpse impression. That's when you're supposed to fight back like your rent depends on it. Hit the nose, eyes, and basically try to convince the bear that you're more trouble than you're worth. So yes, technically play dead can save you, but only if you've correctly identified the bear species, the bear's motive, the terrain, the situation, and the vibe. Which, let's be honest, is a lot to figure out while panicking. In other words, playing dead only works if the bear's the one feeling merciful. Number 6, punch a shark in the nose. Somewhere along the line, humans collectively decided that if a shark comes at you, you should just boop it on the nose, as if a 2,000-pound underwater chainsaw is going to pause and go, "Whoa, personal space, my bad." Here's the problem. The nose on a shark is not a simple button you can press to activate pacifist mode. It's a tiny, fast-moving target attached to a predator that swims like a missile and bites like a malfunctioning paper shredder. The odds you're going to land a perfect punch while panicking underwater? Basically zero. You're more likely to uppercut the ocean itself and impress absolutely no one. And even if you do hit the nose, many sharks respond by getting more aggressive. Because, surprise, animals don't enjoy being punched. The real weak points are the eyes and gills. But those require getting dangerously close to the mouth, also known as the business end. The actual best strategy? Maintain eye contact, turn your body, make yourself harder to bite, and back away slowly. It's less epic action hero, more awkwardly leaving a bad party. Punching a shark is basically advice from someone who has never met a shark, never been underwater, and thinks survival is just a matter of confidence. Spoiler, sharks do not care about your confidence. Number 5, make a fire to signal. Rescuers, somewhere deep in your brain, there's a heroic fantasy where you're stranded, alone, rugged, and you build a giant signal fire that alerts a helicopter miles away. Very cinematic, very majestic, very likely to burn down the entire forest and take you with it. Here's the real plot twist. Most people who try to make a signal fire don't understand wind direction, fuel load, updrafts, or the fact that fire spreads faster than your ability to say, "Hey, is it getting warm?" One spark lands in dry brush and suddenly you're no longer lost hiker, you're accidental arsonist with front row seats to your own wildfire. Your prehistoric ancestors used fire because they had one mission: survive the night and not freeze to death. You, however, are surrounded by combustible plants, unpredictable weather, and zero firefighting equipment. A signal fire is basically inviting the environment to ruin your entire afternoon. And rescuers? If the fire does get big enough for them to see, they're not thinking, "Ah, yes, a brilliant distress signal." They're thinking, "Cool, someone just lit the entire national park on fire for attention." The safer move is using reflective objects, bright clothing, loud sounds, or just staying in one place. Fires are great for roasting marshmallows, which not announcing your location with a side of potential homicide by nature. If you try to signal with fire, you aren't calling for help, you're calling for a disaster. Number 4, eat snow for hydration. Picture this: you're freezing, exhausted, trudging through a winter landscape that looks like a postcard designed to kill you. You're thirsty. Everywhere around you is water-frozen, fluffy water, and your brain whispers, "Just eat the snow." And that's how you become a human ice maker with hypothermia. Snow is basically water that's been fluffed up and refrigerated by the universe. But eating it? That's like trying to hydrate by swallowing ice cubes during a blizzard. Your body has to burn precious heat just to melt it, which drops your core temperature right when you can least afford it. You're not hydrating, you're cooling your internal organs like they're leftovers. And let's not forget that snow isn't as pure as cartoons made it seem. Snow collects pollutants from the air, dirt from the ground. And if you're unlucky, bonus wildlife contributions. Congratulations, you've just eaten nature's freezer-burned mystery slush. If you're desperate for water, you need to melt the snow first, preferably with a fire or even body heat inside a container. But eating it straight, that's a fast track to shivering yourself into a medical emergency. So yes, snow looks refreshing, but unless you want to freeze from the inside out, resist the urge to treat it like nature's free-shaved ice. Number 3, drink your own pee. Ah yes, one of the most stubborn survival myths in human history. You get lost, dehydrated, desperate, and suddenly your brain pulls up an episode of some survival show where the host chugs his own urine like it's a limited edition sports drink. Spoiler, he had a medical team off camera. You do not. Here's the actual science. Your pee is waste, like literal biological garbage juice your kidneys filtered out because your body didn't want it anymore. Drinking it back is like taking out the trash and then immediately regretting it so badly you bring the trash back inside. It doesn't rehydrate you. It makes dehydration worse. Urine contains salts, toxins, and metabolic byproducts your body was desperately trying to evict. When you drink it, you force your kidneys to refilter everything under even worse conditions. That means your dehydration curve goes downhill faster than your sanity. And don't forget, the drier and more desperate you get, the more concentrated and dangerous your urine becomes. So the moment when you think, maybe now is the time to drink it, is precisely when it's closest to being poison. Real survival experts agree, unless you're using it externally for something specific, like cleaning a jellyfish sting, and even that is a myth, by the way. Your pee should stay as far from your mouth as your dignity. If you're drinking your own urine, you're not surviving, you're spiraling. Number 2, suck the venom out. Imagine you're hiking with a friend and suddenly they get bitten by a snake. Panic kicks in, your brain flips through every survival tip it's ever heard, and it lands on the dumbest one possible. Put your mouth on it. Because nothing says medical professionalism like trying to vacuum venom out of someone's leg like you're a desperate human shop vac. Here's the scientific truth. Sucking venom out does absolutely nothing except turn a bad situation into a 2-for-1 disaster. Venom spreads through tissue and the bloodstream faster than you can say, wait, this was a terrible idea. By the time your lips touch the bite, the venom is long gone from the surface. Congratulations. You've just filled your mouth with blood and bacteria for no reason. But wait, it gets worse. If you have even a tiny cut, scratch, or mouth ulcerant, you might accidentally give yourself a direct venom delivery system. Now, instead of one person needing a hospital, you've got 2 people playing medical roulette. The correct move? Keep the victim calm, limit movement, immobilize the limb, and get medical help. That's it. No cutting, no sucking, no dramatic cowboy action scenes. Your mouth is not a tool. You are not a hero. And old Western movies were lying to you the entire time. Trying to suck venom out doesn't save your friend. It just gives the snake bonus points. Number 1, ignore hypothermia until you shiver. You've probably heard the classic survival advice. If you start shivering, warm up immediately. Sounds reasonable, right? Except shivering is already a late warning. By the time your body starts shaking uncontrollably, your core temperature is dropping faster than your dignity after trying to eat snow straight from the ground. Hypothermia doesn't wait for you to notice. Your body quietly sabotages itself, circulation slows, judgment clouds, coordination declines, and you don't even realize you're in trouble until you're halfway to becoming a frozen popsicle. That heroic, I can tough this out mindset, it's the exact thing that gets people killed. The smarter move? Preemptive action. Layer clothing, stay dry, avoid unnecessary exertion, and don't underestimate the cold. Even mild exposure over hours can lead to serious hypothermia if you ignore warning signs like numbness, confusion, or fatigue. Shivering is like your body throwing up its hands and saying, I tried, okay, but now we're doomed. So next time someone tells you, just wait until you shiver, remember, waiting is losing. Your body's quiet sabotage is way ahead of your conscious thoughts, and if you don't act early, it doesn't care about your survival plans. Basically, hypothermia is the ultimate prankster. It's slow, sneaky, and very, very deadly. That's all for today. I'll be making similar videos in the future. Subscribe to see them.